Cool. Well, just do my little spiel here. Welcome to another Cute for Teams session, Champions Using Teams Effectively. And as you can see, we are trying something different today. We are doing a normal Teams meeting. So that way, I know at some point 1,000 people are going to come to these sessions, right? And so we're still able to handle all the hundreds of people that I know want to come see this every week. So yeah, normal Teams meeting that'll give us a chance to kind of try out some things here. Like for instance, right now we're doing a multi-spotlighting, spotlighting two people, new feature as well. And of course, we'll also let attendees come off mute and talk if need be. Certainly still have the chat there on the side as well. So certainly, Lisa, if you got any questions or thoughts or anything, come off mute or put them in the chat. Stacy, I know I was just in another session just before this one and showing the forms. That's probably one of the most interesting new things that has come about lately.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I've had quite a few conversations. People are really excited. Several of my agencies are moving training units, like whole learning and development units off of other products onto Teams.
And because of forms.
Yeah, well, because they've had these lingering other products around, and now their confidence level is such with Teams that they see that they're basically they're streamlining their budgets, and they can accomplish the same things with Teams now, and more of the same in the government cloud with our latest releases like Forms, because polling is such an important interactive piece for trainers. So I'm excited to be working with those organizations, leveraging those new features.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, for those that are just joining, just letting you know we're in a normal Teams meeting today, so don't freak out. Yes, you can come off mute if you need to talk.
Hey, Dan, welcome.
Hey there, how are you?
Good.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's great to hear your voice. We're trying a new format, and I'm excited about it. I think it will facilitate more interaction during our office hours. So, welcome.
Was the size of the audience a factor in deciding to go to that?
The fact that we can support 1,000 kind of means we're not gonna have any issue with that. So that was part of it for sure.
Okay.
We are trying to still record, so just keep that in mind if if you're talking. But we have disabled video, so that keeps anybody from accidentally coming on video and being a part of the recording there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Some folks are having some difficulty navigating this new format. And I think it comes from a place of the lack of familiarity with it breeds a little bit of angst, and sometimes logging into a new meeting and not knowing where the settings are and things are just changing so rapidly, it's causing some additional stress. Let's call it that.
Yeah. Yeah, we could use more quick help guides probably. Would probably be useful. Like for this meeting, for instance, I mean, I think for most folks, the dynamic views is rolled out. So now that I'm sharing content, I think what you all are seeing is the content taking up most of the space, and then myself and Stacy and some nice big bubbles or squares on the side. So hopefully you're seeing that. And that should be a welcome addition, I think, to be able to see the speakers better or see ASL interpreter more clearly, things like that. But yes, certainly there's some new nuances to that, for the end user. Yeah, definitely some things to get used to.
Well, don't get used to it too much because it'll probably change.
Yeah, hopefully for the better,
Right. I was just going to say it. Yes, it is changing, but so much has been for the better in these changes. I understand that it does breed some discomfort at first, but it really is in our effort to bring the latest and greatest to the government cloud for these Teams meetings. And once these things that we've been waiting on so patiently start, or I guess get closer to parity with commercial, then our anxieties around the changes hopefully will settle in, and we'll be able to have a more stable day-to-day experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know my agencies that have attendees that are disabled or that this is welcome because of the interpreters and being able to spotlight them in a nice big square. So there are many that have been really waiting for these changes. What we were going to do here is just show forms real quick, that being relatively new to GCC, and just kind of for those that maybe haven't seen it happen. So I've got two environments here, Ricardo Commercial on the right and Ricardo Gov on the left. And so, yeah, you can see they're in the meeting. And if this meeting was full of additional people, and I wanted to throw a survey in here, chat button, come down to the bottom here and go to forms. Again, there are certainly other apps that can give you an in-meeting experience here, but we'll go ahead and do forms. And I'll just fire up a nice existential question here. I'll take the suggested options and maybe add another because it's not always a simple answer. And I'll hit save and get a little preview of what's going. Again, over here, Ricardo Commercial isn't saying anything yet, but go ahead and hit send. And now in a couple seconds, so now Ricardo Commercial gets a couple things, right? It's getting pop-up cards, but the nice thing is that question overlaid on top of the meeting. It's also in his chat area here, including the results. It's also here in the browser. If he was monitoring chat over here, it's there as well. But for most people, the most convenient choice would be to just respond to this little overlay, hit submit, and then the votes come in. Would be a little more exciting. There was 10 and 20 people doing this, but I think we get the idea. All right. And in the session I was just in prior to this, the question was asked, what about post meeting? Can I do a survey post meeting? And as we can see here, the answer is yes. Where was that meeting? I did one here where I asked the same thing, and then after the meeting had ended. But then I asked another question, and in this case, Joanna was able to see that question as well. So even after the meeting, which might be a big use case, I would think, for the forms, these post-meeting surveys, you're able to do that as well.
So Jim asked in the chat if this is available now, and I confirmed that with a thumbs up, but I just wanted to come off mute to also say that the rollout's been over the course of the last couple of weeks, I would say, right, Ricardo? And it is now what I would consider to be the full feature release. So if you're not seeing this in your Teams meeting at your agency, and Jim, I know that you're at one of my customers, let me know, because we will make sure that your client updates are doing what they're supposed to be doing in the background to make sure you get those latest releases.
Indeed.
Oh, he also asked a good question here. What about in the recording? So does that, I haven't tested that yet. Does that question show up in the recording? I wouldn't think so. Does it? Like because it populates now in the meeting frame. I'm curious if it if it resolves in the recording or not. I'll have to get back to Jim on that one, unless you know offhand.
Well, we might be able to do it here, real quick here.
Yeah.
Live. So go ahead and hit record, and so it's recording. Go ahead and pop another one in there. Hit save, hit send. So it's there for everyone. Gotta hit submit. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Go ahead and hit submit. So we'll see. Done, and then I will stop the recording. All right, recording's being saved, and I'll end the meeting. And I guess in a couple minutes we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's a good question. Meetings there.
Part of what prompted it is that in some of the recordings that we've done with things, when we go to and retrieve the recording from stream, we've noticed that there's an interactivity component that can be embedded in that. And so we have taken advantage of it. I honestly couldn't tell you how it's worked on the end, because I don't know if anybody's gone back, looked at the recording and participated in, the forms that we embedded as part of that.
Right.
But I was just curious how we would reconcile those two things, and whether recorded participants would be added to the results of the in session, or whether that's separate, or kind of how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah, and at least in that thumbnail view, there was no forms. Going to go over to stream and see if it looked any different there. Yeah, I was talking with a customer, and we were kind of lamenting on how Stream is struggling to keep up with the innovations to Teams. I mean, it took a while for multiple windows to hit, so they're trying to keep up. So yeah, but to your point, yeah, you can add a form in a Stream meeting or Stream video, but it doesn't look like any of that showed up in the basic recording. Yeah. So yeah, so you're not gonna get your form in that recording, at least for now.
Right. I was going to say that's good to know for now, but certainly something we can take back to engineering as a use case that you guys are interested in seeing solved for.
And I think that's another added benefit of the office hours here.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting feedback directly from you is very important, and one of the aspects that I love about it being in a Teams meeting now, because it can be real time.
Yeah. So I know, at least, I think it was Jan talking about some of the challenges with the new stuff. Since we do have this format of coming off mute, I mean, is anyone seeing some positive things from this dynamic views? I know I was in a meeting where it was just very refreshing. You could tell that the meeting folks it was a large meeting, and it was like 4 people talking, and they were using the multiple spotlighting very well. And it was just really nice to be able to see big thumbnails of the speakers and seeing small thumbnails of everyone else. Seeing people, I was in a meeting where I know the standout meeting feature may still be rolling out to GCC, but seeing the content plus the organizer and a little square right next to it. I mean, lots of cool new ways of presenting and showing folks in a meeting. If nothing else, is just refreshing, just a new look and feel. but certainly a lot of areas where it's, for many people, it's just a crucial, they were really having challenges with small thumbnails or just not having the flexibility that the dynamic views are starting to give us. So, if anybody's got a cool, good story or maybe agrees with that refreshing look, or is it just change that we're still trying to digest? I guess I could see that too.
I hate to be the only one talking, but so I paused for.
Well, we have a small group, so take
Okay.
advantage of that. Yeah.
Okay. I definitely see the positivity in doing the dynamic view. I think the biggest thing, though, is the challenge of just figuring out how to use it. And the bigger part of that is, for me, yesterday, I was bouncing from meeting to meeting to meeting, but it was from GoToMeeting to Teams to then to Zoom. And oftentimes when you go to those other ones, it messes with your settings inside Teams. So you go in thinking your virtual background is going to be on, and it's not.
Yeah.
There have been times that I've gone in looking to put it back on, and somehow the setting disappeared. So that type of friction is, I think, further adds to the stress and not knowing or not feeling competent in the space.
I know my wife has the same issue. She jumps back and forth between WebEx and Teams meetings, and just like you say, every time there's a switch, she's got to redo something with her audio or with her headset. So definitely, at least I know she's feeling that pain. I mean, I guess if the whole world would just use Teams, we would just be fine, right?
Yeah, we can totally help you with 2/3 of that problem. But I understand. I mean, everyone is trying to meet the demands of their work, and not everyone has a standardized tool that they're using. So yeah, I would agree. I even wrote that down, Jim, because I think as a CSM who gets to have conversations with IT and wants to represent the voice of the end user, I think not only do you have the bottom line kind of things that this drives to, being the budgetary decisions around all the tools you carry, but also the pain of having to juggle multiple solutions in one agency from an IT support perspective and an end user competency perspective is definitely something that it hits me where I care. I care a lot for end users and the how they have to execute against their mission every day, and having that be as seamless and painless as possible is my goal for sure. So I appreciate that input.
I wasn't necessarily trying to do this whole inception thing here, but I
we were dancing.
was trying to get a feel for. I just joined from my demo environment to get a feel for, and at least for the recordings perspectives, get to see, the look with Stacy and myself spotlighted here, the content down below. I think I can probably get a different look. So I got gallery at top there. Just trying to get a different feel there. Because if you zoom in and out, things tend to change. I can't seem to get that over to the right. That's what I was going for. Try something here. There we go. So you see how you had to ignore the vortex there, but as I made the window wider, it went from top gallery on the top to gallery on the side, and I just love this look here. Two big thumbnails there on the side for the speakers, the two spotlighted speakers there. But yes, as I start to change it, you can see that then they pop up to the top. Still a pretty good view up on top as well. So yeah, that's nice.
Do you want to show them? I know we were talking all things Teams meetings, but the forms in the chat and in the channel context is also rolled out.
Right. So yeah, even in this meeting here, we do have the forms that we can continue to create. I think that's how I made my follow-up form there. So that's in the
Right.
meeting chat. But yeah, if we come over to a team,
And one-to-one and group chat too. We tinkered
right.
with that in a test session yesterday with another CSM, and that's working well as well. I don't know why you'd need it in a one-to-one chat, but in a
Yeah.
group chat, I could see that being beneficial.
Right. So yeah, this one has 3 people in it, but imagine it was 30. Then yeah, it might make sense to where's my forms?
Try it from
You know,
the posts at the bottom. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I thought it was, I must be thinking of something else with the plus symbol up there. But yeah, I could certainly create one for this group
Yeah,
chat as
and the channel context, that's where you'd find it for
oh, there you
sure.
go.
I
Yeah,
think in the chat context, um,
just down
it's
here.
it's pinned in the bottom right.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this is a group chat. Let's come over to Teams, and I've already actually, created some, but essentially, plus symbol forms, and I can create a form or add an existing one. So I've got some out there already. I may want to create this for the purpose of showing results in the tab, or I might want to collect responses. So we got those options there as well. And you can see here, this one I created for the purpose of accepting responses. So do that, and boom. So it works very well. Prior to this, we were, people were doing forms in a team or channel, but they were using the website tab for it, which worked as well. In fact, actually, this one may be, is this a website tab? I don't know if I could tell, but I don't think this one is. Actually, oh, I know it's not because of that fill word. But yeah, but putting it in a website tab got it done too. But now it's great that it's a more elegant native solution.
Yeah, it gives you more flexibility because the other option there is to create one from scratch in a channel, which means that all the members in that channel could then be a part of the form creation process right here in Teams. So I see that having some applicability if there is a need to co-author on a survey or something, you can do that in Teams now as well. So you have both the respond to, the fill version, and the edit version available in the channel context.
Yeah. And I saw Jim is sending posts to Teams from Outlook. I was looking for that button in my Outlook, and I don't seem to have it. So I might need to update my Outlook in this demo environment. But you're right. That's what is it? Share to Teams or send to Teams.
Actually, it's the reverse. It's posted
from
in
Teams posts.
Oh, okay. So share it to Outlook. Oh, okay.
Actually, the tip that you shared last week about copying the URL for a particular chat, I was looking for that and then stumbled upon the other thing. And
Right.
so a lot of folks don't necessarily go into the Teams environment, and because they're so driven with email as the primary means of communication, at least in our organization, that doing that allowed a great visual representation of the chat because I had heavily loaded it with visual content, dumped it right into an email. I was able to put the participant list in, and it was off. So it was a great find.
Yeah, I agree. That's a popular one.
There we go. And it takes you right back to that post. Nice.